Buono? Grazie, buonissimo. Today we're going to teach you how to make an amazing gluten-free seed and nut loaf. This bread is so easy to make with a lot of pantry items that keep. I'm going to make an olive oil rosemary version today. You can feel great about feeding it to the kiddos too. So let's get started. You have to pee? Okay, we'll be back. I'm back by myself. Let's see how quickly we can whip this up. It'll be a good test so that you can see how fast you can make it at home. Our first ingredient is 3 cups of rolled oats. Our second ingredient is 2 cups of raw sunflower seeds, but I didn't have enough sunflower seeds, so I mixed it with coarsely chopped cashews. Dump it in. Our third ingredient is a full cup of flaxseed. Dump. A cup of coarsely chopped nuts. You can do walnuts, cashews, pecans, blah, 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 blah. Whatever nut you can think of, hazelnuts, Brazil nuts. We have a ton of almonds in our freezer, so that's what's going in. Next is 8 tablespoons of psyllium husk. This is what makes the bread hold together. It's like glue. And it's also what will make the bread seem a little moist. And so it's really important to slice thinly and toast each slice. Our last dry ingredient is 4 tablespoons of chia seeds, and we're going to dump them in. We have all our dry ingredients here in a big bowl, and I'm going to mix everything together. And actually, really, your best tools are your hands, but don't forget to wash these paws. So now what we're going to do is in a different bowl, I'm going to move Cora's snack. We're going to add 3.5 cups of water. 6 tablespoons of olive oil. Last but not least, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup or honey. Now, I forgot 2 ingredients earlier for the dry. Salt, you want 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, because I said I was going to make this savory, I'm going to ask my little helper, thank you Cora, to grind some rosemary. If you have a coffee grinder that you dedicate to spices, you can do this. You can also wrap the dried rosemary in a tea towel and like grind it with the bottom of a ball jar until it turns into powder. Oh, now we're grinding some oats and some almonds too. We are going to mix this up. It's going to seem really liquidy, but oats and psyllium and flax and chia absorb liquid. So we're going to mix this until this is hard to mix, until it becomes really thick. After that, we're going to put our batter into 2 silicone bread pans. If you're not using a non-stick silicone pan, then you can use just oil a pan. And what's great about this recipe is that it makes 2 loaves, so you slice one up and pop it in the freezer when it's done. All right, so we've poured our batter into 2 bread pans, and Cora's helping me flatten it out. It's nice to just take a spatula and flatten it out. And then we are going to let this rest for at least 2 hours. It's important to let it rest. Clearly, I have not had enough rest, so that the nuts and seeds and oats can all sprout and absorb the liquid, and this makes it a really activated, delicious food. All right, so we'll see you later. The girls are in bed. It's almost 9 p.m. I'm in my PJs, and I'm gonna pop it in for 20 minutes, and then we're gonna take it out and flip it over onto the rack, and that is so that the underside can also get toasted. If you have a smaller rack like this from a toaster oven, it's nice to flip them onto this instead of trying to do it on the oven rack. If you're not using silicone and you're using an oiled pan, you might need to put a knife around the edges to make sure that it's gonna unstick and not break apart. So now I'm going to put my 2 loaves back in the oven. It's a day later, and that's the beauty of this bread because it is so hearty. Can you hear that? I've had it sitting here because I've been waiting to slice up my other loaf to put in the freezer, and this is what I did. I have slices that are about 1/2 inch thick, and I'm going to put that bag right in the freezer and just pull out a slice and pop it in the toaster oven when I'm ready to eat it. It's going to be delicious, and you will not regret making this, so have fun with your bread.